Hi, I'm Elizabeth,
And I'm Cody.
and this is Keeping Score Board Game Reviews. And today we're going to be reviewing Rove from Adax Games. And this game was sent to us for review, so thank you very much.
Yeah, they were very generous. They sent us the entire original Kickstarter. Currently, they have a new campaign for it going on gamefound. It's already been funded. It took like 14 minutes, but it's got a reprint of this with some nice small changes, nothing that breaks it from being able to be used with the new expansion, but it also has a new expansion that can be played by itself. It's got 12 new characters, a bunch more new quests. So if you're a Rove expert, or if you just want to kind of put your tippy toes in for a lighter price, the new expansion is amazing for that because it is standalone. Where to start? I mean, we didn't get a whole lot of time with this. It was a bit of a late arrangement between us to make some content. That's why it's appearing today and not yesterday when the gamefound launched. It's a big game, folks. I mean, if the size of the box doesn't convince you, then the fact that it could only get us, we played through the prologue in a week, but the prologue was 3 whole missions.
And it says that it has 60 plus hours of campaign
Easily.
gameplay.
Easily. I mean, considering that each class can transform into another class, and I think it might even transform one more time after that, and then you get specialty abilities you pick as the story goes. There is a crazy amount of content in this box. And if you like things like Gloomhaven, this is probably right up your alley. Though I will say, and a major improvement from Gloomhaven, at least in my eyes, was the fact that they used a booklet for maps. They used a booklet for, what was the other one? The maps,
enemies.
the enemy. Oh, the enemy book. That thing is crazy. So instead of giving you just, a smattering of cards or minis with cards or things like that, there is a book for the standees for the enemies, and each page is set up for the encounter at that point in the story. And it's great because it's a single page reference for whatever you're fighting. And the programming for the enemies is great because you roll a red die, and that determines on which one of their 4 abilities they're going to land on. If it's the last ability in the line, and then you roll a 2, and it has to go and starts over again. It's great. Simple programming to make the AI knowable but challenging. And just with our short amount of time with it, I feel like I can give an impression. I can give a score. I mean, this is going to take me months to get through every single quest, every single character, every single thing. And I will post updated thoughts as we play through it. But you're going to start a quest. You're going to read everything in the book. It's going to give you the narrative and then tell you which one to set up. It's going to give you the page of the encounter, the page of the map, which tuck box they're in, because there are different tuck boxes for different points in the story where you'll open them up and they'll have new unique enemies, maybe some unique cards or things, neat things like that. What that means is it's always a surprise what you're going to run into, which I find to be fantastic. So you're going to do that. You'll set it up. You'll play your encounter. Some encounters are big enough that it will span 2 different map boards as you play. And that I haven't seen personally yet, but I read about that in the instructions, and that's really cool too. The art, as you can tell just from looking at the book and looking at the box for the game, it's really this kind of like almost pastel-y watercolory almost look to it. It's very pretty. The game itself is pretty. There are optional miniatures, and you will have standees otherwise. And the standees, the art is pretty and attractive, and they're great. And the enemies only come as standees. The playable characters can be minis. That's a very overall look at things. There's a lot of depth here. There's so many different strategies you can use in the battles and things like that. I also, another improvement over Gloomhaven, feel that Rove handles the combat in a more interesting manner. My problem with games like Gloomhaven is it devolved into what felt like a math problem. Every turn in Gloomhaven is a min-max, gotta figure out the exact right thing to do or you're gonna lose. This one, yes, you have a limited number of turns for each encounter, and there's a win condition that you have to meet, but it also gives you enough leeway usually to fail a little bit and flail around and get a feel for it, which I think is a lot more fun. It doesn't exactly require you to think like a computer, which was cool. What would you like to add, dear? I mean, you were...
So, I haven't played a lot of big campaign-style games like this. I'm very much a cozy, cute gamer, where I like cute, and I like it to be adorable, and I like it to be quick. That being said, I really like the art. The art book came along with the all-in pledge that they sent to us. And
don't show too much, though, because there is a spoiler warning at some point with that.
Well, like, here is a Maximus schedule.
I think that's one of your level up classes that you probably shouldn't show very many
Well,
people.
I think that this is something that we fought. This is one of these kind of like creaturey, creepy things. But the art's really, really pretty in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that aspect of it. There was a lot to try to figure out. And it's, part of it is I haven't had the brain power because I've been fighting a cold for a while. And there's a lot to put together. Like, as a beginner playing something like this, it's really overwhelming. There's a player aid card, and it has like 10 different icons on 2 different sides, so there's like 20 different icons. And I was playing a Soprist, which is a little... Let's see if he's on the front.
Yeah, he's the little dude over there.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
a
left.
little fuzzy critter
that
can cast spell type things.
Glyphs, they called them.
Glyphs. And Cody explained it to me and read the instructions 3 or 4 times. And for some reason, my head still cannot comprehend exactly how I do it. Don't really know why.
To be fair, she did pick the Sophist, which is, probably a medium difficulty character. She could have just went for big dumb guy with swords, which probably would have been slightly easier for her to understand. But the other neat thing is, I like the way this game taught us to play, because it had a clearly, easily to follow storybook and codex system where the prologue sets you out and says, here's your turn, here's what we think you should do with it, and here's why you're going to do that. And the prologue walks you through everything in really clear instructions and shows you page references for each rule it tells you about in that codex. So that was really neat. And once I grappled with that after the first part, once we got to like the second part and I saw the transition, it was smooth sailing. Now, one thing I will mention is the original print has a couple of misprints in it. There's a few things that tell you to reference a page in the rule book where it's referencing the wrong page. It's not too hard to find it from there, but it's definitely telling you the wrong page. And then on the third prologue, the top enemy is a reprint of the bottom enemy, and it actually wants you to use a different enemy there. And you can find those fixes, on the website or on Board Game Geek, things like that. It was very easy to figure out the problem because it was very clearly a problem. It's a really good game. It is an investment in time and money and space. Normally I would have it out on the table and show it to you, but I'll open it up and show you a couple of the things in the box, but to have it on this table, it's impossible. There's not enough room for all of them to be open. So, top, you get these campaign sheets. We made a paper copy in case we wanted to play the campaign more than, 2 times. You've got your instruction manual that's humongous, but easily read and well put together. This is that codex book I was talking about. It clearly shows you, from here, the story goes down to here, and here's where you go, and it tells you where to open the pages and switch things. Very neat, very nice, very well put together. This campaign book is literally 160 pages of story and character growth and just a wonderful world to explore. This is that enemy book we talked about that's really unique. I've never seen anything else like this in another game. But look how easy to read that is. Hey, look, adversaries. There's their weaknesses and elemental stuff. There's their picture and what you're fighting and why it's there. And every page is set out like that. They're great. And then your game board is this map. I mean, it's a clearly delineated, scenario-specific map book with, oh, I don't know, what is this? 70 different encounters on it. So, I mean, that's a lot. The original campaign also came with an expansion pack that takes place after the final mission. So there's a bunch more quests there to do with a parasitic organism called the Zulk. These go with the adversary book, so you can keep track of every enemy easily in these squares.
And their damage.
Yep, damage, status effects, whatever you need to keep track of. Every enemy is numbered, and it has enough for each enemy in the encounter, all the way up to 6 different enemy types at once, plus multiple versions of that same enemy. I also really like the round counter. This is nice. You set what round you're going to be allowed to go to, and then you can go from current round all the way up. So it's really a neat way to take track of it. There's character boxes and tokens and just, quests, intermissions, all sorts of cool stuff in this box. It's a lot. It's also really fun. So if you got a group that you want to play as a long-term project, this game would be good for that. I mean, it doesn't fit solo really well. It's designed to be played with at least 2 people. You can play it solo, but then you got to have 2 different characters that you're taking care of at the same time. Not saying that, it wouldn't be fun, because I'll probably have to do it at some point. But it is definitely a little harder to play by yourself, which is fine. There's plenty of solo games out there. Not every game has to have a solo mode. So all that being said, I think we'll stop rambling. Dear, what do you think of it? I mean, just as an overall... You said that you probably weren't excited to play more of it with me.
Yeah, and it's mainly because for me it's overwhelming, because this is like a campaign type thing, and there's a lot to keep track of for me, and I'll continue to play it because I know that he likes it.
Because she loves me.
And I make him play my little cute kitty cat games and
I like
whatnot.
those too, though. So.
And I do really like the art on it. I mean, I think that the art is really, really beautiful. And that's a definite plus for me, is the pretty factor to it. But for me, as a pretty new, gaming under 2 years...
It is a lot.
It's a lot to take on. And the instructions, that he was, reading out and stuff on how to do this, how to do that, I didn't have a basis for reference for things he was talking about, whereas he's been gaming for years, and so he understands when they say that this will go from this dice pool to that dice pool. His mind has a reference for that, whereas mine doesn't, and so I had a harder time picking up what I was supposed to
So
be
essentially,
doing.
as I was reading the instructions, all she heard with Charlie Brown voices, womp, 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 womp,
Yeah.
womp, womp,
Yeah,
womp.
kind of. That is kind of what happened.
Which is unfortunate. I think she'll improve with time. I like the narrative so far. I'm intrigued by the storyline. I like the narrative. I think that's a really strong part of this game. You sometimes get board games with story where the story's written not terribly necessarily, but kind of mediocre. Like, you can tell, oh, this was, this is going to be this, going to be that. It follows a formula, because in a lot of board games, even campaign ones, story maybe isn't necessarily the focus. This one does take time to build a beautiful world, and I'm intrigued by the narrative already.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of our thoughts on Rove. Beautiful game, a big game, and one that's going to require your mind to think a lot more than what tic-tac-toe will.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to score it after just the prologue, which, don't take this to heart, I would probably just start it off at an 8, 8.5. Depending on how that narrative goes and how she learns to play over time, I could see that probably never falling below an 8, but definitely rising into the 9, 9.5 later. I will update this impressions video as we go further and further, We'll talk about it again as we get further in it.
Yeah, and I don't want to give it a score because of the simple fact that, right now I don't like the game. And that's because of my experience level, and that's strictly because of my experience level, and I don't understand a bunch of how it's going right now. So I don't want to score it, because that wouldn't be a very fair score, because I naturally am not necessarily loving it. But I love the art. I mean, for the art alone, I think it's really, really pretty.
Yeah, and I think the narrative piqued your interest at least enough to listen to what I was saying narrative-wise.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to leave it for now. We have already had a blast with it, and we will continue to make more content as we play further into the story. Thank you all.